April 25, 2023 US dollar go boom, while the Iraqi dinar zooms. All roads lead to gold. Walkingstick. You will not see trillions of new small category notes printed. You will see billions printed. They'll release all this information to the citizens. The citizens are rather excited. When they say the parallel rate, it means 1 to 1. And now when Sudani says 1.5 to 1, what does it mean? He is talking about the parallel exchange rate, which is a market rate determined via supply and demand. The currency value of the Iraqi dinar will run parallel with the official market exchange rate that they are establishing for the float. That rate is determined by supply and demand. The CBI, they don't want a parallel currency because that means they will use the USD in the marketplace. They are depolarizing. The 1.5 is true. Deepwood. I disagree. 1,320 does not help the citizens. Neither does anything closely resembling 1,320, 1,190, 1,160, or even 1,000. Nor do any of these numbers inspire confidence in a national currency. Sudani has said repeatedly that the dinar is stronger than the dollar. You citizens, hold on to your dinar. None of this is confusing. The float you seek is closer than you think, in my opinion. Also, there is a lot in the 1 to 1.5 ratio that was mentioned earlier this week. Claire. The value of the dinar in the parallel market increased by 5% since the beginning of the month. Quote, the governor of the central bank, Ali Al-Alaq, said earlier this month that the central bank is on alert to restore the exchange rate of the dollar to its normal position. Frank 26. It is imminent. A major disaster befalls the US dollar go boom, while the Iraqi dinar zooms. Firefly, something is about to pop, it has to. After Eid we expect some changes to the current rate. To more like 1,000 to 1. Frank, pay attention to your Prime Minister. He is trying very hard to tell you your currency is at 1.5 to the American dollar. It is possible they may start the float at 1 to 1.5 instead of 1 to 1. Militia man. I suggest if in fact they do what they say they're going to do, we're going to do it soon, we're going to do it in weeks, we're going to do it in days, we're going to do it now, we're going to do 1.5 times. By that equation that Al-Sudani is giving you, not me, if that holds true, what they've done is they have adjusted the rate again to squeeze the black market. Marx. I still believe it will not be a float but an reinstatement, and a healthy, lovely one at that. There is a lot of activity going on right now that makes me feel very, very good. I am continuing to hear the rate we get will be around $4.20, $5.35. I certainly hope that is accurate. It does appear they are moving forward very quickly. We certainly hope this is our week. Iraqi contacts expect to see it by the 1st of May. It's interesting on the rate. I am hearing from some contractors in Iraq that they were able to complete some deals today at $1.60. There is a tremendous amount of chatter from contractors involved in Iraq today. We had reports from contractors that we feel very confident about that said they actually did receive those dollars. We are hearing from Iraq that they are fully Section 8 compliant. It's finished. This is another key piece, it's done. I believe at this point they have already passed the budget. I think the GOI is sitting on some huge news and will simply announce it in a rate change soon. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Iraq is doing everything they can to move this forward. Goldilocks, all roads lead to gold. Goldilocks and Seeds of Wisdom. Thank you RJ. Good afternoon. Dinar recaps. Goldilocks posted some comments and links this afternoon. There are so many variables on this journey, so I wanted to make it easy for everyone to know when everything is complete. No matter what happens to the markets or to the debt ceiling, one thing has to happen. We need to have a repricing event in oil, silver, and gold. This is our liquidity event, my friends, that will give us what we're looking for on all sectors of the markets. Nothing else will get us there. Iraq implements 2 policies to support the Iraqi dinar against foreign currencies. Iraq implements 2 policies to support the Iraqi dinar against foreign currencies. All roads lead to gold. In our present-day scenarios, gold and the dollar were seen as safe haven assets in the past, and the dollar was capable of being weaponized to hold other currencies down. At this time, central banks around the world account for 33% of the demand for gold. Because of this new trend, gold is currently capable of being weaponized against the dollar. And, this is what we are seeing as the world is making known its new preferences and trend for the global markets. Gold is clearly the great equalizer, and it is leveling the playing field everywhere. It looks like we have movement on stablecoin legislation, and there is a great deal of urgency to see this pass. Part of the issue in the past has been contradictions between the CFTC and the SEC on their understanding of virtual currencies. The urgency has come from losing stablecoin providers. Some have moved out of the United States who is lacking clarity to other countries that will accept them. This is causing a great deal of revenue loss. Once we see the digital asset-based trading system clarify these currency reforms in digital format, we will be able to move forward with their implementations and standardizations. The biggest requirement going forward is that these stablecoins represent a country's currency has to have a one-to-one backing in a liquidity asset to keep these currencies stable during difficult times of crisis. Here are the main issues that were brought up in the meeting just a few days ago. By requiring payment stablecoins to be backed one-for-one by high-quality liquid assets held in reserve, the proposal mitigates run risk. The legislation also requires stablecoin issuers to comply with redemption requirements, monthly attestation and disclosures, and risk management standards. Yada. The parallel rate is the rate that the street operated at. For a long time, the street rate charged higher rates for dollars that were purchased by dinar. The CBI rate is the official rate and there was a variance between the two. Since the official currency in Iraq is now the dollar, dinar, and illegal to use dollars, the street vendors are forced to play fair or use the same rate as the CBI. The parallel rate is flattened in Kurdistan, whom always operated at a higher standard than Baghdad. Now the rate will go international, and that is what we've been awaiting. Bond Ladies Corner. Administrator Bond Ladies Corner Federation of Chambers of Commerce, Iraq sent a positive message to the world after entering the SWIFT platform. Baghdad, Conscious, Nasser al-Hajj. The Federation of Chambers of Commerce confirmed today, Sunday, that Iraq has promising investment opportunities and with all specializations, while indicating that its entry into the SWIFT platform gave a positive message to all countries of the world. Iraq has thousands of promising investment opportunities and with all the agricultural, industrial, commercial oil specialties, especially as it is a country of multi-good deeds and sites. He added, there are great opportunities that can be global, stressing the real need to extend the law and send a positive message to the world that Iraq is a safe environment for investment, in addition to the need for banks to have a global correspondence through which the investor can enter and remove money. He explained, the entry of Iraq to the platform and SWIFT gave the world a positive message that Iraq is its money and its financial dealings is white, noting that the Union has all the powers in the openness of international companies through the federations of the trade and industrial chambers in the countries of the world. And he added, the Iraqi investments are large and widespread in all countries of the world, including Oman, Dubai, and Turkey, because the laws are facilitated and simplified, calling on the government to improve the administrative improvement of these operations and eliminate routine, bureaucracy, favoritism and other things that keep the investor away from investing his money in Iraq. The central bank announces the creation of the International Organizations and Foreign Relations Section Economy April 17, 2023, Baghdad, Conscious. The Central Bank of Iraq announced today, Monday, the creation of the Department of International Organizations and Foreign Relations. The media office of the central bank said in a statement received by the Iraqi news agency, Conscious, that the governor of the central bank, Ali Mohsen al-Alaq, and the accompanying delegation met the regional representative of the World Bank Farid Balha al-Hajj and his executive team, as part of the World Bank meetings and the International Monetary Fund in Washington. He added, the meeting dealt with researching the reality of the Iraqi banking sector and enhancing the concept of financial inclusion in the country through special programs with international institutions. The two parties also discussed the recent measures carried out by the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq in combating money laundering and terrorist financing, as well as accelerating banking reforms for banks' government support for reform in this vital sector. Al-Alaq stressed, according to the statement, continuing to support the green economy and renewable energy through the Clean Energy Initiative, which is to lend citizens to purchase solar energy systems and cooperate with government agencies to ensure the quality of systems, calling for technical support and benefit from the expertise of the World Bank in expanding the central bank initiative to lend projects small in light of the successful experiences of other countries. He pointed out that the creation of the Department of International Organizations and Foreign Relations, which is related to the governor of the central bank to organize, promote and follow up on relations, programs and memoranda of understanding with organizations and foreign authorities. The World Bank's regional representative expressed his cooperation to build functional and technical capabilities for the central bank employees in the field of banking control, electronic payment companies and non-banking financial institutions. https://www. INA/IQ/183122. HTML Al-Khatsraji. All Sudani's decisions contributed to recovering the billions of looted funds. Baghdad, conscious member of the Oil, Gas, and Natural Resources Committee, Representative Muhannad Al-Khatsraji, confirmed today, Friday, that the audacity of the Prime Minister's decisions recovered the looted funds, strengthened the state's sovereignty, and moved the economic recession, which contributed to a great loss that caused the dollar to rise against the Iraqi dinar. Al-Khatsraji said, in a statement received by the Iraqi news agency, INA, that the coordination framework in particular and the state administration coalition are continuing to support the Prime Minister's efforts to combat corruption, calling at the same time the House of Representatives and other political components to support the government's efforts in pursuing those wanted through the international Interpol in cases of corruption and terrorism. He pointed out that hundreds of wanted people owe billions of dollars and live in complete prosperity, along with their families, as a result of the looting of public money, noting that reforming the situation in the country takes a long time through integration between the executive and legislative governments to control economic security in the country and support independent bodies charged with fighting corruption, which is the main obstacle to the growth and prosperity of the national economy, especially since the Sudanese government has achieved tangible successes on the ground in a period not exceeding 6 months. Central Bank dealing in the Iraqi dinar will extend to the private sector economy. April 18, 2023, Baghdad, conscious today, Tuesday, the central bank confirmed that the reform package is a major shift for the organized economy, while noting that dealing in the Iraqi dinar will extend to the private sector. The bank's advisor, Ihsan Shamran, told the Iraqi news agency, INA, the government supported the reform package launched by the central bank, noting that there is great harmony between the financial authority and the government. He added, countries whose legal systems are good have an excellent economy because they do not deal in dollars, noting companies and government institutions have responded, including Iraqi Airways, by relying on the strength of the Iraqi dinar, regardless of the exchange rate. And he continued, the public began to deal in the Iraqi dinar as a national currency, explaining, this will extend to the private sector, including car showrooms, and at a close stage, the furniture and electrical dealer will not need the dollar. And he stated, this is considered a real step and a big shift for the organized economy, explaining, the real value of the dinar that exists now is more than 1.5 dinars, because the bank's reserves are very high and therefore the national currency cover is high. And he stated, Iraq's economic interface is the central bank, which takes corrective steps, the most important of which is the platform that transformed foreign trade in Iraq into real trade, after the relationship between the dollar that exits the country and the commodities was disconnected between them, pointing out that through the platform all these matters have been seized, including the dollar that is sold by the central bank to the bank and then to the public, and the public asks the bank to transfer it to the merchant who exports the commodity to Iraq. It has been seized and has become clear. He pointed out, Iraq and the central bank are in compliance with international concerns, including combating money laundering and financing terrorism, explaining that we have exited the gray area and turned into a respected compliant country, and the central bank has now become an internationally recognized institution, as compliance is a feature of the ethical and legal features of work. The tripartite budget, positive steps to promote development and investment. Baghdad, Shukran al-Fatlawi, specialists in economic affairs, praised the governmental and parliamentary directions aimed at approving a tripartite budget, stressing that this step shows the existence of a medium-term government vision for spending paths and trends and project priorities. And it can be positively reflected in creating more interaction with local partners in various sectors, and while they warned against the continued dependence of the budget on a single financial resource to support its items, they stressed the need to exploit the financial abundance to support the industrial, agricultural and tourism sectors. The triple budget that extends until 2025 is a positive point that was welcomed by a number of specialists in economic affairs, who praise the paragraphs supporting the increase in sustainable development rates, especially in the health and education aspects, praising at the same time the establishment of a fixed exchange rate in the law. A researcher in economic and institutional reform issues at the Middle East Institute in Washington, Nawfal Abu al-Shawn, during his interview with Al-Sabah, sees a number of positive aspects in approving a tripartite budget, including the presence of a medium-term government vision for spending paths and trends and project priorities that will be positively reflected by approving a budget for a period of 3 years. In addition to the importance of the step in being a real motive for more interaction with local partners in the private sector and investors. Abu al-Shawn pointed out that the stability of the tracks during the implementation period of this budget avoids delaying its approval in the future, as happened more than once, and the governments were forced at that time to follow the state's requirements according to previous budgets with a clear disruption of interests, warning at the same time, against the continued adoption of the budget is almost completely based on export resources for one commodity that fluctuates in prices, is not controlled, and is subject to collapse and a sharp decline, oil, as happened in alternating economic cycles, expressing his fear of building the budget according to exaggerated price expectations. The spokesman explained that accelerating the approval of the budget, which was delayed, will be an effective factor in moving influential economic joints in the country, which can be achieved by approving the budget for the next 3 years, consistent with the ministerial curriculum and the government program, and limiting the effects of negative attitudes that try to create unreal convictions related to the budget. The proposed expenditures in the new budget amount to 197,828 billion dinars, $152 billion, according to the official exchange rate, including investments worth 47,555 billion dinars, $36.5 billion. According to the government's economic advisor, Mazhar Mohammad Salih, preparing a budget for 3 years is contained in the Iraqi financial management law, and it can be amended by the Council of Ministers based on a proposal from the Ministries of Planning and Finance for the second and third years and with the approval of the House of Representatives. Saleh says that this gives the government legislative flexibility that distanced financial planning from the constitutional rigidity and difficulties of annual legislation. And he adds that the House of Representatives, as far as the matter relates to the legislation of the Federal General Budget Law, has the power to reduce unnecessary expenditures and make some transfers between expenditure chapters without increasing expenditures, and this is what is happening now. Al-Sudani directs the submission and discussion of monthly reports of non-oil revenues collected by the ministry's April 18 information. Baghdad, the Council of Ministers, in its session held on Tuesday, issued several decisions, including deeming tomorrow an official holiday for Yazidi citizens on the occasion of the Yazidi New Year, approving recommendations for converting the land of Al-Rashid Camp into green spaces, opening Sinbad Street, rehabilitating and opening the Atomic Energy Road. Dollar exchange rates in the local markets today. 411 Baghdad, Nina, the exchange rates of the dollar on the local stock exchange recorded a slight decrease today, Monday. The selling price was 143,750,000 dinars for $100, and the purchase price was 141,750,000 dinars for $100. In the north, the selling price reached 144,250 dinars for $100, and the purchase price was 142,250 dinars for $100. In the south, the selling price reached 144,500 dinars for $100, and the purchase price was 142,500 dinars for $100.